Beautiful day in Southern California. 70 degrees here in the town of Somis, about 60 miles or so north of LAX Airport. It's day 2 of the LPGA Mediheal Championship, and the Englishwoman Jody Urich-Shadoff, a week after Charlie Hull, her countrywoman, won in Texas, is trying to win for the very first time on the LPGA Tour. Backs up a 64 with a 69. Northern Ireland's Stephanie Meadow has moved into a tie for second. And we are taking you out to the 7th hole. Grant Boone, Morgan Pressel, Tom Abbott, and Kay Cockrell. Glad to have you with us. Let's send it over to Tom.
Yeah, this is the 7th hole, and this is Paula Creamer with her second shot. Kay Cockrell is out watching Paula, who's on a good run at the moment, Kay.
She definitely is. After an early bogey at the 2nd hole, she has reeled off 3 birdies in a row. Good drive down the left-hand side. This is a 9-iron to back hole location.
Okay, there's a gradual slope at the front of that green, and that's fine. Paula will have a chance for only the 7th birdie of the day at number 7. Let's go to the 2nd.
Take a look there at the number, the race to the Scenic Globe for Stephanie Meadow, number 79. He was in the first group out yesterday morning and in the first group out in the afternoon wave today.
Danielle Kang, second shot at 7 on the way.
Yeah, went at that wedge fully, hoping to get some spin.
And made a mistake, Kay, because it's gone over the back. Looking up at the sky, is it to say maybe the breeze had a part to play in that? Let's go back 1 to 6.
And the number 2 ranked player in the world, Atthaya Thitikul. Only Nasa Hataoka has made more birdies than the 19-year-old from Thailand this year in a rookie season. Looking and playing like a veteran. And once again in contention. 9th hole of the day for last year's U.S. Women's Open champ, Yuka Saso. Morgan, par 5 here.
Yeah, Yuka's had a bit of a struggle so far this season. Had to put a few good rounds together in Arkansas, but struggled on Sunday. I think she's close. I think she's been struggling a little bit in her first full season, but close to putting it all back together.
Stephanie Meadow.
It shows you just how severe these greens are, that from only about 2 feet, the putt broke over a cup.
Back at the 18th, you look at the swing and you say, wow, it is still incredible to watch. And, the putting has been a bit of a struggle at times this year.
I've always loved her putting stroke. She actually looks like she's standing much more upright to that putt right there. Sometimes when you feel like you're not making any putts, you feel like you have to do something, fix something to give you a little bit more confidence. Definitely looks like a significant difference in her stroke right there.
Pitch over to the 7th.
Still, please, guys.
This is the 3rd shot that Danielle Kang faces.
That was a mistake, Tom, particularly since this whole location's only 4 paces from the left, and it actually plays less than that because the green really kind of drops off to the back left part of the screen. Her lie is decent. She's going to use, Morgan, kind of a lofted club, but play it like a chip and run.
Yeah, this hole today, Kay, is playing as the hardest hole on the golf course. 2nd hardest hole of the week. There's been a lot of big numbers on this hole today.
Stay confident.
I think we've seen quite a few players blast it right off the tee, and then they lose it in the tall rough. In fact, Sonia New in the group ahead came back to the tee having lost her ball.
She's standing really close to that chip there, Kay. Worked out nicely. Interesting technique.
Par 3 9th. This is Hanako Shibuno. Yesterday the flag was front right on a flatter part, a little bit further back in the green today. Wow, right at it for the Japanese player, so she'll have a good look at making a 2. And we'll go back a couple of holes to that 7th. Figure out who's next to go. Looks like Paula's going to put the ball down.
And Celine Boutier doing a nice job of surveying her putt in anticipation of putting next. And that's a good way to keep the flow of the game going and keep the speed of play up. This putt of Paula's has some right to left movement. How much probably depends on how firmly she hits it. It is an uphill putt, so she can go ahead and be a little extra aggressive.
Green's quite soft this week. We've heard time and time again from those that play here regularly that usually it's a bit firmer. The officials here soften the golf course up.
This for 4 in a row.
Coming back up the hill, just didn't have enough. In fact, a bit of work left to do to save the par. And we go back over to the 9th with Johnny Medjoy. Slipped to 2 over par, having started the day at level. This one's just going to miss the green over on the right side. She double bogeyed that 7th hole. Kay was talking about how tricky it can be. And here we are at 7 once again, and Celine Boutier for a birdie.
She had a pretty typically boring round of 3 under yesterday, 3 birdies, no bogeys, and then came out here this afternoon and made 2 bogeys in her first 5 holes. Bounced back with a nice birdie at the last. This putt will be faster than Paula's, slightly downhill and moving to her left.
And Celine's been on a good run. She missed the cut at the CP Women's Open, but if you take that one out of the mix and you look at the last 5 starts, she's had a 2nd, a 7th, a 5th, and a 9th. So Celine has certainly been playing well.
Well, here is that majestic 10th with a 90-foot drop-off. It's Elena Sharp.
And the wind dies.
Doesn't look like it's quite as windy up at the top of that tee box today, Grant, as it was yesterday. Makes it a little bit easier to judge the distance control.
Down. Sit.
Okay. Yeah, you were talking yesterday about not being sure what to say when the ball's in the air on a 90-foot drop-off. 7.
Now Paula Creamer for par. Paula returned to the LPGA Tour at the Dana Open. Time away from the LPGA and maternity leave. Let's get back to number 10.
Southern California native Alana Urel. Her home club is down at Aviara in Carlsbad. The LPGA plays the J2BC Classic, has for the last decade.
Yeah, we talked a lot yesterday about just the California connection to this leaderboard. And you can putt on those greens at Aviara. You can putt anywhere.
Those greens make Indy Park say, hey, you know what? You're going to miss some and make some, and don't sweat it. And if Indy Park is saying that, then.
But that's just the nature of Poana and Southern California golf in general, not just Southern California. And when it's something that you're used to and grow up on it, I think it's an advantage.
There's some similar advantages in Florida as well, right? You grew up in Florida, you're accustomed to those conditions.
To Bermuda grass, some people, some players find that Bermuda grass gives them fits. They have a hard time reading grain and things like that, where...
For you, it's called grass, right? Yeah. It's just... Alana is taking your time here. And, time is running out. Just one more full field event after this week. To the 9th.
Kelly Tan here in the group coming up this par 3. We saw the 2 tee shots. Let's see if Kelly Tam can make a birdie. Kelly just got off to a tough start today. Bogeyed the first, the third, and the fourth. Dropped to 5 over par. Her way back, she birdied the 6th. Still needs a few more birdies to be able to make the weekend here. This is down at the 3rd. Mrs. Mooney, he's 2nd.
It's gonna run. I mean, I know it's up. It's a good bit uphill though. Good shot.
It's a very good approach from Mooney He. Back over to the 9th. And Shabuno, lovely tee shot in here. So this would get her to 1 under par. Inside the cut line at the moment. She's playing under its par today, 2.94 average, so chance for a birdie, one of the easier holes on the golf course, but too many made. We've only seen 9 birdies so far.
Okay.
I feel like it's gonna run. I think even if it hits on the front.
Meadow.
Okay. No, I mean, if it's in the front, it's going to easily get there. It's got to lay short. Okay.
Right at it.
Fairway over on the right side at 3. So maybe a little bit of tree trouble for the Northern Irish woman. Lives out in the desert, out in Scottsdale area. Said it was kind of comforting that she could have driven to this event. Didn't drive, but kind of felt comfort in the fact that she could have just driven here.
I think just with the way the schedule was, that not, playing so many events in a row to then fly home and then what? Probably 6-7 hour drive for her. It's maybe a little bit too much, although it is nice. It's nice to drive, nice to have. She likes to travel with her dog a lot, so nice to have your car.
Put everything in the car and off you go. A little long there, so she's got some work to do at 3.
At the 8th, 3rd shot for Allison Lee. Shot 66 yesterday. The UCLA alum. Grew up about an hour from here. She was posing. So back to even after an early hiccup. Jody Ewart-Shadoff setting the pace. Her lead was 6 at one point earlier today. It's half of that now, and Stephanie Meadow trying to creep a little bit closer on day 2 here in Southern California. Third shot at the par 5 18 for Unhee. She'll have that, her 9th hole of the day, to get to -5 to 3.
It's the third shot here for Stephanie Meadow.
Yeah, should, yeah. All right, take a shot, same thing.
3, 5, and 7. Tough holes on the way out. And this hole playing is the second hardest hole on the golf course, the 7th, the hardest hole. That one.
Well played there.
Caddy thought it was a good shot.
Yeah, that released a lot
shot.
more than I thought it was going to. It looked like it might get caught up in that fringe grass.
So Stephanie Meadow chasing Jodie Hewitt-Shadoff at the top of this leaderboard. Meadow with a putt to stay at 8 under.
It's just a lovely Friday here in Southern California, specifically the village of Somis. The Satakoy Club hosting the LPGA Mediheal Championship for the first time. Grant Boone and Morgan Pressel watching the overnight leader Jodie Hewitt-Shadoff this morning is for birdie at the 9th.
She's talked about how comfortable she is with this club in particular. Continued to roll the rock today.
She backs up an opening 64 with a 69. Her lead is 3. As our coverage begins from Southern California. NBC Sports and the LPGA Tour proudly present the season-long race to the CME Globe. From the Satakoy Club in Somis, California, it's second-round coverage of the LPGA Mediheal Championship. Here about 60 miles north of LAX Airport, not far from the coast, about 10 miles from the Pacific, the Satakoy Club had opened a little over 100 years ago. In fact, last year was its anniversary. They moved to this property on the hillside here in the Santa Susana Mountains in the mid-1960s, and now the world's best in women's golf have come to compete for a coveted title, and in some cases just contending to try to stay on the LPGA Tour with time running out in the 2022 season. Just one more full field event. And we're glad to bring it to you here. Morgan and I are joined by Tom Abbott, and out on the golf course, California's own Kay Cockrell. Let's go out to the third hole and say hi to Tom.
Yeah, Stephanie Meadow, along with her second shot, has this for a par back down the hill. And that is really well done. You can see what it means to her with that little fist pump. A good par save on a very difficult par 4. So Stephanie Meadow in the mix here.
Here's one of the winners this year, Unhee. She won the Bank of Hope match play event in Las Vegas and has a victory in Southern California down the coast at Aviara in Carlsbad. And she moves to 5 under par with the lead -11.
This is Jennifer Chang for a par. Yeah, Jennifer's had a good week. Nice round yesterday. 68 to get off to a good start, and she's level par for this second round. 4's a pretty good score at 3.
And at the par 5 8th, we find Paula Creamer, and Kay Cockrell is following this group.
She's just laid up nicely to the left-hand side. Just a normal wedge into this hole that's on the left-hand side of the green. Pretty good placement there underneath the hole.
Nice little run for Paula here of late. 3 straight birdies for a par 7. Playing with Celine Boutier.
Probably one of the most consistent players out here on tour these days. She's only missed 3 cuts this year. 10 top 10 finishes. It seems like she's in the money almost every week.
That's how you get to number 10 in the race to the CME Globe, as we just saw. How about this approach?
Yeah, just a little 82-yard shot. A little bit awkward because the ball is below her feet, so it does not have a perfectly level lie. Although you don't have many level lies out here on this golf course.
Danielle Kang, the other member of this group. You can see Danielle there. This is a course she knows well, Kay. The Satakoy Club.
It sure is. She grew up in the Thousand Oaks, Westlake area, which is about 45 to 50 minutes from here, depending on the traffic. And this is a course she played numerous times growing up, and particularly when she was in Pepperdine for the 2 years that she was there at the university.
Depending on the traffic is always the qualifier, isn't it?
Yes, when you're talking about LA, greater LA area, that's a big if.
Third shot here.
Yes, drove it nicely, powered her second shot down here to where she's within 60 yards, 55 on the nose to the hole, and this has been a part of her game. She's really increased the work on the short game. And when you've gone through some injuries, Morgan, you know better than anybody, the short game you can always pay extra attention to.
Especially with what Danielle's been working on, struggling with her turn. Give you a little bit extra time to work on your short game.
Up to 9.
Yeah, this is Allison Lee. Nice round yesterday of 6 under par. She was 2 back overnight. Player who's from this general area of the state. Parents live about an hour away. She now lives in Las Vegas, but she has spent a little time in the last week or so with her parents. So it was great to be back, but you don't want to spend too much time at home once you leave home. It's nice to visit. You realize why you left once you come back to visit.
It's like college kids returning for the first time after going to school, and I'm like, wait a minute, I have total independence when I'm at school.
Who's going to be first here, Celine?
That's a good question. They're all pretty equidistant around this hole. Looks like Celine is stalking the putt first. I've watched Celine through the years. Of course, she was part of the great Duke collegiate program. She was a part of their NCAA championship team. Was a very fine collegiate and amateur player. Ooh, looks like Paula's going to go ahead first. And Paula bypassed college. Won on the LPGA Tour, Grant.
Before she finished high school. I think 4 days before she graduated.
I think that's a pretty good sign that you're going to have a good career when you do that. This putt should be pulling down to her right just a little bit.
She's got a line on the ball, Kay, that seemed pretty straight. Pulling for a whole lot of break. It is a little bit uphill. She left the last one short. The uphill putt. You kind of remind yourself on these greens just to give it a little bit extra when you're uphill.
Yeah, it did peel off almost the other way.
Kind of started it just a little bit outside the hole. Maybe expecting it to fall a little right, like you said, and it never did.
It's her 5th start back since taking maternity leave, and she posted this 9 months old. Baby Hilton. Paula made one of her first four cuts since coming back. But make it again this week. How familiar would she feel on a course like this, having grown up in Pleasanton, California?
Well, definitely similar to what she would know from home. But I mean, you know, show that adorable picture of Hilton. It's not just life-changing, but can really change even the way you approach your career out here as well. And so in 5 weeks, kind of just learning her new rhythm and routine and how to deal with everything both on the course and off the course. And, you know, I think she's really just trying to get all that dialed in.
Boutier for birdie.
You started out with 2 bogeys in the first 5 holes, and then a nice birdie at the 6th. The other par 5 on the front 9. Thought she had that one.
Tried to jackknife it in. All right, to the 9th.
Here's Allison Lee for a birdie. Quite give it enough. So 1 bogey, 1 birdie going out for Allison. She's inside the top 5. A lot of players have been talking about just having enough energy at this point in the season. It's been a long year for the LPGA, starting back in January, traveling all across the globe, and they've still got a couple of weeks to go in Asia.
This is the 7th straight week. Stephanie Meadow, par 3 4th, her second.
It definitely changes as the season progresses. The beginning events, you know, Mondays are packed and everybody's excited and ready to go. And you kind of get to the end of the season and the 7th week in a row, even though it's a new course, players are really just trying to maintain their energy levels and prioritize a little bit more rest.
Danielle, after a 67 yesterday, has this for birdie.
With her comfort and familiarity of this golf course, she knows these greens very well. Putted brilliantly yesterday, but not as sharp today.
She's really one of the only players in the field who does know this golf course. There are not many players who have ever played here before. Matilda talked about coming up, only living a few hours from here, coming here a couple times for some practice rounds, but Danielle certainly has the upper hand in terms of course knowledge.
And she didn't have to over-prepare coming into this week like everybody else did.
In fact, on Monday, she was caddying for her brother Alex at the PGA Tour's Shriner Children's Open Monday qualifier. He shot 8 under and missed by 1. So you want to be a professional golfer? Go get him, champ. Jody Ewart Shadoff safely in, leading by 3. Today's coverage is brought to you by Mediheal. Mediheal today, beautiful skin tomorrow. And by CME Group, where risk meets opportunity. Over at the 4th, the par putt for Stephanie Meadow to stay at 8 under.
A lot of stress on this club right here. At least the last couple of holes. Can she make another great save?
79th in the race to the CME Globe. So you'll see players 61 to 100 with that yellow color, their position in the race to the CME Globe. So they're in that position to keep their card.
Danielle Kang's tee shot on the way.
Yeah, that's a 6-iron. She was in between a 7 and a 6. Teed that up a little bit further back.
That's fine. Not challenging the flag, but certainly in no trouble. And while we have a moment, let's head up to our booth. Grant and Morgan.
Yep. Glad to have you with us here for day 2 of the LPGA Mediheal Championship. Yesterday was our first look at the Satakoy Club, first year hosting this 4th-year event. It was the first time that the players had seen it in competition, and quite the bar that Jody Ewart-Shadoff has set through her first 36 holes at 11 under.
Yeah, at one point earlier today, she had a 6-shot lead. And so the players that are going out this afternoon, they know that Jody has set the mark. They know that they need to go out and maybe play a little bit more aggressively. When you come to a new golf course, you don't always know what the scores are going to be like. You don't know how aggressively you can play. And I think the players this afternoon know that you can shoot a low score out here and you can be aggressive. But there is that balance of how aggressive can I be before I get into a lot of trouble. So I think players will see hopefully some more birdies this afternoon. Somebody try and creep. Stephanie trying to creep after just making that last bogey, but the closest so far to Jody. But I think we'll expect to see some people bridge the gap a little bit. We
didn't really see a big change in the scoring from morning to afternoon yesterday, did we?
No, the golf course got a touch easier yesterday when we got into the booth in the middle of the day. The scoring was about half a shot over par. It got a little bit lower as the day progressed. I don't know if it just got a little bit warmer. Yesterday morning was quite a bit cooler than it was this morning. I don't think we'll see that drastic of a difference today.
All right, this has been fun to watch the Satakoy Club hosting its first really big professional event. And speaking of big, how about that drop off here at the par 3 10th? 90 feet down the hill here. This is Allison Lee.
It's a gorgeous hole, but with a tiny, tiny green, only 21 paces deep. So that adds even more premium on making sure you judge that distance properly.
Half the field these first 2 days have begun here at this par 3 10th, a tough one. All right, Ayaka Budaway. Don't know if she caught that one exactly how she hoped. In fact, I would say she didn't.
A little bit heavy there.
Part of that incredible rookie class. She has a win this year, like Ataya Titcomb. He's got a couple of them. So back-to-back par 3s. Just saw the 10th, and now we're at the 9th.
It's an interesting dynamic when you play this golf course from the first hole to have those back-to-back par 3s.
I'm trying to think of another golf course with back-to-back par 3s.
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
That isn't the par 3 course, obviously.
And it's unusual. Some courses end with a par 3, like Pasatiempo. That's pretty unusual as well.
Wilshire.
There you go.
What, only for the tournament?
For the tournament.
There. Right. It's the 10th regularly.
Yeah.
The Forest of Arden that used to host the English Open on the DP World Tour. They used to finish with the par 3. I'm assuming it still does. Haven't been there for years.
Well, and didn't Eastlake, before they switched the 9s for the tournament?
Eastlake did, and, Congressional, when nobody else, U.S. Open did.
But this putt for Celine is, I didn't see a whole lot of break in it. It's really about the speed. It's uphill the entire way. She really hit that firmly and still didn't get it there. But that was a really nice lag.
I find that when you talk to the players out here, Kay, the uphill putts are really, really slow. And the downhill putts can get away from you pretty quickly. So it's a little bit unusual how drastically different it is putting uphill to putting downhill. And you really have to adjust on every single putt.
All right, a 4th here at the par 5 for Ayaka Budaway.
Straightforward pitch here. Beautifully judged. Wonderful technique, wonderful tempo to her stroke.
back of the ninth.
Let's take a look at our insights by KPMG. Putts per green in regulation. Last 5 seasons. So it's trending in the right way for Danielle Kang. And this year, top of that statistic, although she has had a little bit of time away from the tour because of injury, but even so, she's putting well when she's playing.
And Morgan, you and I learned from her coach, Butch Harmon, that she has made an adjustment with her putting. She normally hovers the putter before she hits it, and now she's soling that putter. We can talk about that a little bit more and see if she's consistently doing that today.
She's making a conscious effort to keep from hovering the putter, which is really tough to do, I think, when you're naturally used to doing that. It's kind of a, I mean, I eventually started hovering my shot, hovering my club over a full swing, and it's tough for me to put it on the ground. Like, it's hard to consciously change that. But Danielle really trying to do something just a little bit differently here. So this was earlier in the season. I believe this was in Orlando. And you could see right before she took the putter back, she just lifted the putter ever so slightly. And now she's trying to not do that. And Kay, I believe you said that it was to not hit down so much on the ball?
Yeah, they found that she was just generating a little bit of a descending blow and getting almost some backspin instead of a good true topspin.
Now Creamer for birdie. Let's go back a couple to Stephanie Meadow at the 5th.
Ooh, gets a nice favorable bounce there. Let's stay there on the fringe. Yeah, that'll be all right. 5th green has a lot of slope and undulation to it.
At the 8th, Andrea Lee, winner for the first time 3 weeks ago in Portland, is to get to 3 under.
Chance last week, took last week off, went home and able to celebrate with her family and friends.
Andrea Lee played a Curtis Cup at Quaker Ridge in Scarsdale, New York, which has back-to-back par 3s. And Tom, I'm sure you'll hear about it on social media, all the places that have the back-to-back par 3s.
Send us a tweet at Tom Abbott GC. Be happy to hear from you if your home club has back-to-back par 3s.
As always, we love to hear from you.
Now, Danielle Kang.
Certainly a little bit more in this par putt than she would have liked.
Okay, it almost looked like she gave it a little extra after watching Celine come up short, but good bounce, good recovery there.
So a chance to bounce back. Trusty caddy, call him Aristotle. His nickname on tour. Jody Hewitt-Shadoff with a 4-shot lead.
Birdie and a bogey for Allison. To 5.
Yeah, Stephanie Meadow looks like she's going to try and putt this one from just on the shorter grass. See how it rolls. Oh, it bounced so much.
I think she's going to get away with it, though,
Yeah.
Tom. Beautifully done. You kind of have to play for the bounce a little bit. It looked like she almost tried to hit down on that a little bit because she was so close to that rough cut.
Yeah, a foot away on the tee at the 9th. She's going with 7 iron. Good front 9 for the Japanese player. A couple of birdies. That one's just fine. Chance to go out in 3 under par.
It's time for our course setup, brought to you by the Golf Course Superintendents Association of America. It's the Satakoy Club.
It's a beautiful property, very undulating. Golfers this week have to pay attention to a lot of uneven lies, ball above your feet, below your feet, uphill, downhill. I mean, we've seen the 10th hole's got a 30-yard drop from tee to green, so also really important to have a good caddy out here who can keep you on your toes and give you some good numbers because it's very easy to be off by just a little bit with how dramatic the changes are, and that also leads to the greens. Greens are very undulating, have a lot of slope, especially back to front. It's really important to keep it in the right spot on these greens.
Heck of a test for the caddies this week, isn't it?
It is quite the hike. That is what we've heard from all the caddies leading up to this week during the practice rounds. Players and caddies had never really seen this course before.
Yeah.
Didn't really know what to expect.
All right, a 90-foot drop-off here. And so you see it on the yardage book, but what's the biggest challenge here?
It's trusting the fact that it plays 30 yards less, 3 clubs less. You know, Paula's pulled this towards the wide part of the green.
Looks like it went to the back bunker, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple bunkers that flank the backside, and then water protects the front. So it's an intimidating little shot. If you want to be spot on with your club selection and then just not miss it at all.
You don't really want to miss anything.
Yeah.
What's the golfer's mentality, Kay? How can I be as perfect as possible?
Who do you next?
Celine has a 7-iron out right now. But that wind is not really strong, but it's enough that it just makes you think. And Colin Can, veteran caddy, longtime caddy for Paula Creamer, up at the front of the tee, you know, throwing up a little grass. There's a flagpole by the clubhouse that's not moving at all, so it's a little confusing.
Would the wind be to Celine's back when she's set up over this ball? Because I see there's a tent there.
No, it's actually coming from the into her face from the right. Boy, she put a good swing on that, and it has a really nice looking line. You cannot see where it lands because of the haziness in the air from the slight marine layer in the distance.
She'll like it when she sees it. 5.
Stephanie Meadow for another up and down on this front 9. She's hanging in there, Stephanie. Doesn't have the pressure that she has had in previous seasons of trying to keep her card.
And now Danielle Kang at the 10th.
All 3 players going with 7-iron. Pretty nice rhythm to that swing. A little left with a draw.
Really judged the distance control well there.
Yeah, really tough to do there. It's a Jody Ewart Shadoff, 64-69. As Morgan said, led by 6 at one point earlier today. Had it cut to 3 at the moment. It's 4. not far away from the Pacific, just about 10 miles to our west. Day 2 of the LPGA Mediheal Championship.
Good for a long time. It's a player who has had a very good rookie season, but over the last few weeks started to come alive once again, having had that win early in the season. Chance to become the world #1.
At the 10th, the bunker shot of Paula Creamer.
Bunker play has not been her strength so far this year. Hasn't gotten up and down out of a bunker yet this week. This being her 3rd that she's been in.
No one got it up and down for that bunker yesterday at the 10th. 9.
Yeah, good foot away for birdie. Quite high enough. Sometimes tricky putting back into the shadow and vice versa.
You can get highlights, interviews, and features on all your favorite players. Go to LPGA.com this week and every week. There's 4 events left this season. Just one more full field event. That'll be the Pelican Women's Championship. Over the 18th, you see number 113 in the race to the CME Globe, Lindy Duncan, and what a summer it has been for Lindy, the veteran from Florida. Didn't even have full status this year. She tied for 9th in Canada. That moved her up in the reshuffle, and now this is her 7th straight event. She's trying to make a last-minute move inside the top 100. Danielle Kang at the 10th for birdie.
This putt is gently uphill. Should have a little bit of left to right movement to it.
Oh, you could almost see she tried to lift it there just a little bit and then thought about it and put it back down on the ground.
It's hard to disregard a little cue, a little key in your putting or your swing that you use to sort of initiate motion. But she putted really well with it yesterday.
Tough start, trying to fight her way back. It's a par putt for Annie Park. She is number 90 in the race to the CME Globe.
Claire's playing a lot. This is her 7th week in a row, and she's got playing in 2 other events the next 2 weeks as well. Oh,
she knew it all. That's
golf.
walking it in.
That's golf in a nutshell, is what that is.
When you think it's out.
That was great.
Boudier for birdie as it bounces along here.
Celine hit 17 greens in regulation yesterday, but had 32 putts. 3 birdies, no bogeys. A pretty ho-hum round.
Giving herself a lot of opportunities, and you know, the greens are small out here, so hitting 17 greens is not the easiest feat.
No, that's really impressive.
5,500 square feet, which is below average. Think about Pebble, 3,500 square feet. Those were among the smallest that you'll see. And how would you describe the Poana here, Kay, compared to, say, where Paula grew up or elsewhere in California where you played?
These greens are very similar, a bent Poa mix. It's the grass in the rough that's a little bit different. Down here you get some more Bermuda and Kikuyu grass. But certainly she grew up at Castlewood Country Club, which is very hilly. They have 2 courses there. The hill course is extremely hilly.
Apropos to its name, Kay.
Yes, and so she's used to calculating uphill, downhill lies very well.
That was sporty.
And a sand save. Put a little star by the 3 on her card.
And with the cut line at +1, that could be important come the end of the day. Tom, how about this 11?
Yeah, yesterday, Morgan, as we got a chance to see it play out, we realized that the trees on the left and right really do play into the tee shot and the second shot to this green.
Yeah, the whole fairway slopes very heavily left to right, and those 2 trees on the right especially come into play the most. It played as the hardest hole yesterday, playing slightly easier today. Hole location kind of in the middle of the green, only 6 paces off of the left, but in that section of the green, it's only about 15 wide. It's a very long and narrow green with a lot of undulation and slope back to front. Nearly almost a 15-yard unusable section of the first part of the green because it's so severely sloped.
Below the hole, it's good news for Allison Lee and a good chance there for a birdie. Level par for the day. She says she's tried to relax away from the golf course and sort of switch off by reading a lot. And, you know, people have their different techniques, don't they, to try and get away. She's getting stuck into a few books of late.
We read transcripts of interviews.
But we do read a lot.
To unwind.
If ever you wonder what we do away from the commentary box,
Glamorous, isn't it?
it's very glamorous reading transcripts. Now, Creamer.
And that's a nice looking tee shot with just a little baby draw playing into this fairway that tilts left to right.
So you said playing a little easier today. There were 8 birdies on this hole yesterday, 16 today. So players have either figured it out or this whole location is a little bit more conducive to birdies. Now, Boutier.
I think they're figuring this golf course out a little bit more with each passing day. And getting comfortable with their targets, both off the tee shots and for the approaches.
And I always felt, Kay, that when you play a golf course, especially a new golf course in practice, it typically tends to play quite differently in the tournament competition. You're a little more amped up. You're hitting it further. You maybe have to make a few adjustments that way just from based on what you've seen from practice as well.
Definitely, and I think all these players and caddies are writing a few extra notes down each day, something to refer back to. That might be a little too much to the right, and we'll have a pine tree to deal with. We'll see.
There's a bit of ground under repair there, but I think she's gone through it, so we won't be able to drop more towards the middle of the fairway. Yeah, there's the trees that we were talking about off the tee.
This is the par 5 6th, and Stephanie Meadow, 15th hole of the day, first group out in the afternoon.
Stephanie's been a little bit preoccupied lately. She and her husband Kyle just recently bought a house. She's working on trying to buy furniture, organize the renovation. So sometimes it's not good to have something to take your mind off of the game as well.
She finished 100th on the CME points list last year to keep her card, to furnish that house the way she wants to.
This is the 11th hole, and Paula Creamer getting ready to play her second.
Just a little off the floor, right? 3-3. So a little bit behind. What about the left of it? Center? Yeah, 3 of it. Yeah.
Talking things over with her caddy, Holly Clyburn, who is a very accomplished player in her own right. 173 yards to the hole, but this play is 7 yards uphill.
She set up a little bit left, Kay, to play for that ball below her feet.
That was a 9-wood, hit it very high, but just pushed that out to the right.
Where did it finish up, Kay? Can you see?
In the bunker, the right bunker.
There it is, just there. Backside of that bunker. Now Boutier.
Yeah, also still plays uphill. It's uphill the entire way, but it plays more like a half a club uphill. A little bit less uphill as you get closer and closer. This is a 7-iron. Going right at it.
Good. Yeah, get up towards the top of that slope and should be fine. And the putt below the hole. Good look at birdie. Winner all over the world, Boutier. Australia and in the US on the LPGA Tour, but then she's gone on the Ladies European Tour around the world as well.
Stephanie Meadow for birdie at 6.
Gosh, such a quick putt down the hill. Well judged for pace.
At the 10th, Atthaya Thitikul made double bogey at the par 5 8th to blunt her momentum. One of those back. Not much can stop Atthaya these days. Back to 11.
Yeah, Danielle Kang just having to think about that overhanging tree, Kay.
Definitely. She's going to have to hit a cut shot or some sort of a low shot.
She's set up way left, feet well left of the bunker.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
It's a wonderful shot.
Yeah, she loves to move the ball around. She's very multi-dimensional in that regard.
Yes, just on the front. I think with the greens, the speed that they are this week, that ball looks like it'll stay there. It's an example, if they were quick, that could easily come back to the front and off the front of the green, I think.
Ayaka Foodaway. These two players, Thitikul and Foodaway, were inside the top 20 in the Rolex rankings when they began their rookie seasons. Both have lived up to the hype and exceeded it, I would say.
Yeah, it's tough when you come into a season with a lot of expectations placed on you to play so well, but they have both just been tremendous and will be fun to watch the rest of their careers as well.
It's been an amazing race for the Louis Suggs Rolex Rookie of the Year. You've got Atthaya, who's having one of the best rookie seasons you could ever possibly have. And yet Hedgen Choi, who hasn't won, still has a chance. In fact, Hedgen, because this is a points-based race, Hedgen could actually win on points without ever winning an event, which would be wild, with Atthaya having won a couple of times. Foodaway's having an incredible year, and yet she's not even anywhere near the top. And Inako Shibuno's 32nd in the race to See Me Globe. We barely talk about her, it seems like.
Yeah, we knew coming into this season that it was going to be a special rookie class. And I mean, Hedgen had 9 top 10s, and obviously Atthaya with 2 victories. And I think Atthaya mentioned in her interview that she's not thinking about that. But I think Hedgen is thinking about that. I think that's why Hedgen has tried to play so many events in a row, because she knows she has to catch Atthaya.
No, in fact, Hedgen today shot 66, which is the low round of the day. This is her 7th straight event. 11.
Creamer from the bunker.
A much more difficult shot than she had on the last hole. A little bit of a slight downhill lie. Not much green to work with. And the green slopes away.
She's done pretty well. Left it below the hole, but as we've seen so far this week, once you miss this green, it just gets very, very difficult. 72 players in for the weekend at the moment at 1 over par. As we watch Paula.
I think one of the things here, Tom, is she's playing for break, even on a bunker shot. I think a lot of amateurs at home don't really think about the ball is still going to break just like it would a putt when it's getting on the green. She had to play a ton of break even for that bunker shot.
To 12, Allison Lee. Second to the par 4. She didn't like it.
That was an odd swing. I mean, she talked about feeling exhausted coming into this week, being the end of the season and just a little bit burnt out, didn't have a lot of expectations. That looked like a tired golf swing.
Nice look here for Danielle Kang at the 11th.
It is, Tom, and I think she's going to give Celine Boutier a little bit of a teach. The higher part of the green is to her left, and so I would think there's a little bit of movement left to right.
Let's see what she does here with the putter. So she lifts it once. Is she going to keep it on the ground? Oh. She did a pretty good job. Maybe took it up, picked it up just a hair right before she took it back.
I think, yeah, she's kind of caught in between a little bit.
Well, it's a habit, right? It's not just, it becomes a habit after so long, and some habits are really tough to break.
Incredible, that change for a player who is ranked so highly in putting statistics. Allison Lee, 3rd at the 12th.
Just trying to open the face a little bit. Oh, and right underneath that. Very short backswing for that type of a shot. Get it underneath it.
Best short game player. That for par to stay at -6. Tied for 4th.
Since the 13th, the par 3, Hanako Shibuno. We saw a very good tee shot for her at the 9th. And she's going to snag that in at 13. There's quite a bit of movement in that green, as you saw from that part. Back over to Boutier for a birdie at 11.
A little bit further left than Danielle Kang was, and a little closer, but still going to have to hit this one.
Yeah.
Looks like it bounced a bit.
Yeah, just never had it high enough as well from our angle. Still,
yeah, par's not going to kill you on this hole.
4's a good score here.
Yep. And she made it easy on herself, really easy.
1 over for the day. 2 under par. It's just outside of the top 30 right now.
Just want to go a little right of it.
Sense of how that scoring looks.
Those 2 trees, even the right one if possible.
Stephanie Meadows done the hard part. She's found the fairway at the 7th, which is the hardest fairway to hit. Now, needs to give herself a look here. 7 has just caught a lot of players out today. We talked earlier in the broadcast about the difficulty.
There. Is it drawing back towards the hole?
They seem to know where it finished up there. Could hear the marshal saying, where did it go? Creamer for a par. Yeah, good up and down.
Beautiful.
Showing a lot of moxie there with those 2 sand saves.
Paula stepped away at the LPGA Championship on maternity leave last year. Returned the Dana Open. Started working with a new coach during her pregnancy. So he was able to really see how she was dealing with that. The changes in her swing. Grant Waite, who's worked with a number of players on the LPGA. Now Danielle Kang for par.
You cannot be very casual on these putts. You have to grind over all of these 1.5, 2, 3 footers.
Oh, goodness.
She missed another shorter than that on the front 9. So, Morgan, that can contribute to just a little bit of doubt and loss of confidence with putting.
And you know, on pulling on a green, so when you start to miss shorter putts, it really can get mental. But that just looked like a touch of a pull. Looked like she stood over it for a little bit longer than she typically does too, which means maybe too much going through the brain.
Yeah, a few too many bogeys today for Danielle Kang. We're about 10 miles away from the Pacific. Down last night in Malibu, famous part of the world.
Lucky you. At the 12th, Paula Creamer.
This is an awkward tee shot. Fairway slopes right to left. It's a slight, the whole move slightly left to right. There's a big tree, a eucalyptus that overhangs you have to avoid. And then most players are just hitting something that comes well short of the fairway bunker.
Or just drive, you got to
Rifle that one down the fairway.
Straight drive, you've got a chance of getting in the bunker.
Now for par, Allison Lee. Tough. That's for bogey.
Huge left. I mean, if that comes down in the middle of the bunker.
Right.
Caddy. Colin Cam. LPGA ready.
Morgan Celine just strikes me as such a smart player. She knows her limitations. She's not the longest player, but she plays the shot needed for each shot in each hole.
She's very consistent. She doesn't do anything super flashy, but she certainly can get the ball in the hole.
And very rarely makes big mistakes.
I mean, you also mentioned earlier Colin Cam, who's worked for Celine now for a while. He's a very experienced caddy who I think has really helped Celine as well.
Great. In the middle. And now Danielle Kang. How about that kick? Caddying for her brother Alex in the Monday qualifier. He shoots 8 under.
That's good.
And misses by 1. And she talked about how that has really been helpful for her, just seeing that side of it.
Well, she loves her brother, and she loves the way he plays, and he helps her a lot. He understands Danielle's game. When he watches her like he did yesterday, he has constructive criticism, and she really learns from his analysis.
It sounded like she had a little empathy for Ollie as well. I mean, you know, said that she's going to give him 3 days a year where he can say, I don't want to work. I don't know that he'll ever take her up on that, but.
Well, it's a lot of work and a bogey for Allison Lee. A lot of work in a week like this, and it's been a wild year for Danielle Kang and Allison Lee, who last year began the season without full status, worked her way back into a tour card, and this is not where you want to be at 7.
No, they were struggling to find the ball. It was almost a worry that she wasn't going to find that one. Kicked off the tree into the heavy stuff. So
well, we have seen some big numbers on 7
we've seen
this week.
Yeah, we've seen an 8 today as well. So I don't think it's going to be that bad for Stephanie, but struggling there, trying to save just the one drop shot. So Stephanie Meadow managed to chop it out of that long grass to here. Chance to chip it in for a 4. Just make sure you only drop the one shot. Asking for it to sit down. Gives her a chance there to make a 5. 3 under for the day is Stephanie. And we'll go up to the 12th.
And the second for Paula Creamer.
119 to the hole. Plays 6 yards uphill, but a little bit of breeze is helping. So I think playing at 119, 120 would be ideal.
Ideal is right. He's a birdie. And now the second for Boutier.
Celine is dealing with a little bit more of an upslope. So it's really important to make sure you get to your left side. She has a tendency to hang back on her right side when she doesn't swing well. She loves that abbreviated follow through.
He's judged that by a good 10 paces. Carried that well past the flag.
6 feet of apron there to go through. Now Kang.
105 yards. She's grabbed her gap wedge. Really a much more level lie. Just a really nicely placed drive. Oh, she went after that one. A good full gap wedge. Trying to get the shot back that she gave away on the last.
Back to the 11th.
And Tidicun with her 3rd shot. Good touch there. That should mean a 4 for her.
Tom, we're going to check out this view of a champion presented by Versant Health. Ataya Tidicun turned 19 in February. And in just her 5th start on the LPGA Tour, made this putt for a 64. Got her into a playoff with Nana Kurtz-Madsen. Second playoff hole, Nana out of position. Maybe tried to get a little too much there, found the water. It opened the door for Tidicun. And she walked right through and became a Rolex first-time winner. It would not be her only victory. Just a couple of weeks ago, she led Danielle Kang by 1 at the Walmart Northwest Arkansas Championship. Kang third at the par 5 18. Perfect. An eagle. And that put DK on top. But not to be outdone. Tidicun at the tough 17. Grabbed one of the very few birdies at that par 3. Tied her with Kang going to a playoff. And on the second playoff hole, with Kang assured no better than par, Tidicun took care of business. Won her second playoff of the season, her second victory. And she is now number 2 in the world. That is a view of a champion presented by Versant Health. The real deal.
At 11 for Tidicun. Yeah, it was a great week in Arkansas and a really good finish. That was an electric moment when Danielle Kang pitched in from off the green. And just getting to watch Tidicun, how cool she is in those situations.
The shock of that pitch in by Danielle would be denied. All right, here is wedge shot here for Boutier.
Going with a little dead-handed pitch and run. Put that way too firmly.
Is there a reason not to putt it, Kay?
She could have putted it. About 6 feet of fringe to go through. But she really never even thought about the putter. Just pulled the wedge from the start.
The Blue Devil and Duke. Over to 7.
Stephanie Meadow for bogey now. Yeah, good save there. Obviously the mistake with the second shot, but gets away with just the one drop shot. A couple of holes to go to bring it home.
The hardest hole of the golf course. Giving up one shot's not the end of the world.
Well, how impressed, Morgan, have you been as we look at Danielle Kang in her return from that 3-month layoff after she disclosed that a tumor had been found on her spine?
I think it's been really impressive. And she said that she didn't want to come back until she knew she was ready. I think you saw the emotion in her interview after the playoff in Arkansas and how much it really means to her. We've seen it this year both with Danielle and with Nellie talk about the gratitude that maybe, not that they didn't have, but that was magnified when the game was taken away from them for a period of time.
For birdie. So that will be par for Danielle. Kay, there is a comfort level, isn't there, for California players in these surfaces?
Most definitely. This tour takes you all over the United States and all over the world. So anytime a player gets to play in their home state, and then if they're in particular, if they're from Southern California, it just feels like you're at home.
Fiery, as always.
Now goes Shibuno.
This is her third at par 5 14th. This is Cliff's Edge, the Aon Risk Reward Challenge hole. We're going to see as we go on this weekend why it's called Cliff's Edge.
There used to be trees there along the side. I was talking to one of the long-term members. They had a fire that came through and took the trees out that were down the side of that cliff.
All right, Boutier for par at 12.
This par putt is further away than Paula Creamer's upcoming birdie putt. That was a silly bogey.
Played in the final group last week. The Ascendant LPGA. Charlie Hull won for the first time in 6 years, and now another English woman. Which Shadoff is on top here. Shibuno for birdie. Interesting year. Missed cut or in contention, it seems like, for Inako.
Yeah, and it's actually reminds me of Amy Azado. I think that was a lot of her career was she'd either, if she missed the cut the week before, you knew she might win the next week, because whatever that was in a missed cut, just
did something. Yeah.
Gave her a little extra time to work on something, and she found it the next week.
So from Japan. Now Creamer for birdie.
Morgan, this is one of those putts that looks different depending on what side of the hole you're looking at it. When I first looked at it, it looked right to left. Now I get on the other side of the hole, and I almost see the opposite.
You gotta think that when in doubt, it's gonna head towards the ocean. There it does.
Yeah, it still had a little of that right to left. That was a good stroke. You just can't be, even though these greens are 10.5 and slower than they, quote, normally are, you just can't be aggressive when you're above the hole.
Danielle talked about how impressed she was with how Paula played yesterday, even though the score wasn't what Paula wanted.
Paula's swing looks really good, and it's just a matter of getting reps in competition.
Not just the maternity leave, but because of injury, she really hasn't played much golf in the last 3+ years. It's a 4-shot lead for Jody Ewart-Shadoff.
Are you thinking of 7 wood or? No, it's a big 9 wood. I mean, yesterday I hit that pretty good, and all I got was caught. It was only a few holes in yesterday. We dragged this back. You don't like this one, like you said, or I do like this one, but if you're feeling like you're not comfortable with that, then we can drag it back and play a P3 with this one. How's that? Because you're still hitting into that line, you've still got 7 behind. What if I hit this? It's going to be short, right? Finish short, right? Finish short of the slope, yeah. Hit this one. It's cool in the air, actually. You can feel that.
Tee of 13.
Yeah.
Top tracer technology for Paula Creamer's tee shot.
Little in between clubs. 191 is the actual yardage. You adjust down 4, that makes it 187, but you're back into a little breeze. So I think it's going to play about the number she's going to want to land this, like 180.
Yeah, I mean, if you land it short of the flag, should be okay. If you go long here, long left is
Long
dead.
left,
Yeah,
no good. Ideal target is our camera tower.
That's what she said to Holly right before.
Yeah, that's a good looking 7 wood there.
quite a few blokes just gathered around the screen. It's a nice spot to watch.
And the second for Ayaka Pudue at the 12th. Short for a good look at birdie. 13th.
Danielle Kang now on the tee.
Going with the 4-iron. Playing this down the right half of the green with a draw. Try to use the natural slope to feed it towards the hole.
Thank you.
Honorary member here, Danielle Kang. As Kay mentioned, connections to this part of the world. Westlake Village, Thousand Oaks, only about 30 minutes away. And Boutier on the tee.
Celine has a bag full of woods and wedges. Love that configuration.
I have that too, Kay.
Oh, well, don't we all? It's a smart way to play. This is her 22 degree.
Oh yeah, good shot. You go too far by. But that's just fine at the 13th. Go back over to the other side of the course, number 8.
Yeah, and this is the group that includes Stephanie Meadow, Jennifer Chang, you see number 95. Now, last year was the first year
top right quadrant
that the priority list went off CME points, not money. And Jennifer Chang finished 100th on the money list, but 104th in CME points, which meant she lost her card. Got it back by going to the Q Series. So that's when we're talking about all of these, projections. That's why it's so important.
It's very stressful. I mean, it's where am I going to work next year? Am I going to have a job next year?
Not to mention the fact that her caddy is an expectant father. That's Will St. Ange, who's husband of our dear friend and colleague Maria. Due any minute, next month or so. Sunday Night Football, Joe Burrow and the Bengals take on Lamar Jackson and the Ravens Sunday, 7 o'clock Eastern Time on NBC and Peacock. And by any minute, I mean, a month or so. She's ready. To 12, quickly, Titakun for birdie.
That so much this week. Uphill putts, players just struggling to get it to the hole. It's just so much slower than they think it's going to be.
So playing with Chang, Stephanie Meadow, who was exactly 100th on the CME points list last year and has been able to have a full schedule.
I think of the difference where she was at this point last year. In that, I mean, she didn't know. She actually ended up getting a sponsor exemption into Pelican. Didn't know whether she was going to have to go to Q Series. And it's just really stressful and a huge weight on these players' minds.
And she just got coyed. That's what they call it here at Satakoy, when your approach is on the green and then suddenly it's not.
Back at 13 with Danielle Kang for a birdie.
Tom, I get the feeling she is just so ready for something really good to happen. She hasn't had any putt drop. This one will be right to left, or at least a putt of any length yet. And she's off on the speed today.
Yeah, she's a bit frustrated. We saw her smash a putter into the bag earlier. That's not going to make her any happier. Let's go to 8.
Fourth and par 5 for Meadow.
She's just putting a lot of stress on her short game right now. She's managing it okay, but that's not going to keep you by the top of the leaderboard come the end of the tournament.
Yeah, Boutier for the birdie here.
Tom, she's putting from just about the opposite side that Danielle putted from. So this will have left to right movement and be a little bit downhill. Morgan, I just think these greens are tricky to read, and it's hard sometimes with the Poana late in the day to hit the correct line right off the bat.
Well, this is an interesting one too, Kate, because it actually slopes what appears to be away from the ocean, which makes it harder to read. And plus you have the shadows of these trees, always more challenging to read with less light.
Get the line.
Maybe that's one where it looks to her like it breaks significantly left to right, but the ocean holds it out just enough.
When they built these greens, you sometimes try to counteract that natural slope, but the big gravitational pull always wins out, doesn't it?
Gravity's usually undefeated.
Well, this would be a great opportunity for birdie. She put a good stroke on the last putt, and it just broke a little more than she thought. This one, Morgan, looks like it should slide a little to the right. I don't see a tremendous amount in it.
Just maybe not quite as fast as she might feel right there in her feet. Just the same reason we saw Celine's not break quite so much.
Hit it. Hit it.
Just didn't hit it.
It's a hard dynamic when you want to make a putt and you want to do well so badly, but letting yourself relax and trying to let it happen. So much patience needed in this game.
Just thought it was a little bit more downhill than it is.
Hit it. Hit it.
Just needed another foot of pace. I think it wouldn't have broken offline quite as much.
Birdie putt for Jennifer Chang at the 8th, 17th hole for this group. She's had some incredible Fridays this year. Big late runs to make the cut and keep her hopes of retaining her LPGA card alive.
Now Danielle Kang for the par here at 13.
Looked like she was hovering the putter, and then again you can just see she looks very uncomfortable over the ball. It's really frustrating when the hole starts to shrink.
Meadow for par at the 8th.
Really good confidence stroke there.
Like Jody Urchadoff trying to win for the first time on the LPGA Tour. 13.
His bogey putt's about twice the length of the par putt, I think, Kay.
No, I hate it when that happens, and it happens so easily on these kind of greens late in the day. And it becomes so difficult to keep your confidence level up.
Staying by the right side.
I'll walk up, thank you. It's picked up there.
Aristotle just agrees with the folks on.
Philosopher, isn't he, really? Of the game.
Didn't know that until today. It's a great nugget by you.
Now back up to the tee, and Ayaka Furuwe is ready to go. Interesting that she's teeing it up on the right side here. We've seen a lot of players move the ball right to left on this par 3, but teeing it up on the right side usually would mean a left to right shot. Maybe she just wants a better angle on this hole because it's on the left.
I mean, I think that's a good point, though. It can significantly change the way a hole looks depending on which side of the tee box you tee it up on. I do think that was a bit odd there. The way the whole entire green slopes right to left, you'd think you'd want to be on the left side and hit towards that slope to use the slope.
And yeah, move it right to left. And she just kind of pulled that into a great spot. This is at the 15th. This is one of the flatter greens on the golf course. And members here say players tend to overread this green.
There's another example right there. Good call, Tom. All that research.
I was out driving around the other day talking to some folks here, long-term members. And they're very passionate about their course. They love the fact that the LPGA is here.
Cliff to the left, and here's Creamer's tee shot.
The conservative line is at the right edge of that group of pine trees in the distance. And there's a little slope that brings the ball back to the fairway.
Let's see. Peril that awaits the left. It is the easiest hole on the course. We've had more eagles than there have been bogeys or worse.
I wonder how many members and guest balls are down there.
Yeah, it's not the type of cliff you want to go looking for your golf ball down there. You just let it go.
It'll be interesting to see how Danielle plays these next 5 holes. She's frustrated. She probably thinks she should be, you know, at least 4 or 5 under, and instead she's moving back towards the cut line.
Saw 4 over. Couple of par 5s though.
She's always been really hard on herself. I talked to Butch a little bit earlier this year. He likened her to Suzanne Petterson and the fire and how frustrated she can get on the golf course, and how that can sometimes work against her.
All right, this par 5 14th is this week's Aon Risk Reward Challenge hole. Appropriately named Cliff's Edge, the 14th asks players how much they're willing to risk to shorten this par 5. While the safer tee shot to the right lessens the likelihood of finding the green in 2, hugging the left brings the bunker and that mountainous fall-off into play. The Aon Insight tells us that more than half the field is expected to go for the green in 2, but only 1 in 5 will find it. Players who birdie this hole are expected to gain more than half a stroke on the field. Well, they're playing for $1 million this season-long Aon Risk Reward Challenge. Minji Lee, who won $1.8 million for winning the U.S. Women's Open, narrowly leading Shi Yulin, who's had a terrific season. And Ataya Titigun. Would you expect anything else from Ataya? Allison Lee up on the green at the 14th. 2 over today. That is a welcome end to that bogey rod.
Well, Stephanie Meadow hit all 9 greens on the front 9. The second 9, she's hit 3 of 8. Trying to find the green on her final hole of the day. Yes, right on the air. Yeah, she's going to be okay there. Longer putt than she would have liked, but trying to get it into the house with a round of 70, maybe sneak one in for a round of 69, but she's on the first page of the leaderboard here at the LPGA Mediheal Championship.
Danielle Kang the wrong way today. But, a chance here at the par 5 14th.
It's going to take a big hit here. 212 yards to the front. Plays at least 10 uphill. And the wind that was helping has died. She tagged that one. Oh, wow. Boy.
Probably going to fall back off the front. But
Is
really.
Yeah, she hit that so well, Morgan.
Yeah, really good swing there. She's going to get unlucky with that. Is that being coyed, Grant? Is that?
Oh, look at goodness. She is really coming unglued here.
Well, she did that already up on the tee. Took a beating to the tee box after her tee shot. She needs to rein that anger in.
Now Creamer.
204 yards to the front.
You know, you mentioned her work with Grant Waite. Okay. He's said that when they first got working together, that she really wasn't turning properly and loading in on her backswing. She was just lifting her arm. Something that they're really working on is loading and turning into that right hip, using her body better instead of just more an all-arm swing.
And she's definitely generating more club head speed and hitting it longer than when she left the tour.
And now Boudier. Beautiful look up into the mountains.
I chatted with Celine a little bit walking up this fairway. Asked her when she was next going back to France. her home country, and she said in December for the holidays. She and her family live in Montrouge, which is a suburb of Paris. She's got to be excited for the Olympics that are coming up in a couple years, or less than a couple years.
Her next win will make her the winningest player from France on the LPGA Tour, which we all remember. Patricia Mounier-Lebuc, Dwight Morgan, champion, Russian Hills. And Celine certainly, as you all have been talking about, has a game that would seem to fit a really tough test that the majors often provide.
I think even more than her game is her kind of level-headedness. You know, I've talked a lot to Colin Can. Her caddy says that she has the best attitude of anybody that he's worked with. Just accept what you get. Try not to be too perfect. Give what the conditions give you. And we all know that you can be really talented mechanically, but it's really what goes on between your ears that makes all the difference in the world.
Stephanie Meadow, final hole of the day, and just putting a bit of extra pressure on herself to finish off the round. That'll be for a round of 70 to get in the house at 6 under. Let's go back over to 13. Looking for a par, so that's a drop shot. She's going to fall back. At one stage, it was a 6-shot lead for Jodie Ewart-Shadoff at the top of this leaderboard.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised, Tom, that nobody's really coming out of this afternoon wave and even, I mean, scaring. Even Paula Rito's just been in second position most of this afternoon.
Yeah, the closest challengers on the course right now. Stephanie Meadow finishes off at 6 under, and Lindy Duncan. But a good couple of days from Stephanie. Her best finish, 3rd on the LPGA Tour. She finished 3rd in her first ever start as a professional, and it was the US Women's Open at Pinehurst. Kind of jumped onto the scene. It's been a tough road for Stephanie, both on and off the golf course, but I think settled now. Put away for a par at 13. Sorry, I missed the green way to the left. There's a good up and down there. She's got a steady day going, a couple under with a par 5 to come at 14, and then a par 5 on that closing hole as well. So Jodie Ewart-Shadoff, the Florida-based Englishwoman, leads by 4. Ball spin back. How about for Boutier? We're watching her here.
Oh, actually,
Creamer's going to go first, yeah.
Yeah, Paula's away, and she's in a good position. Plenty of green to work with, coming across the width. Nearly perfection.
A dandy. The birdie for Paula.
Oh, that would have been cool if that had dropped.
That looked like it had all the makings of an eagle right there. It almost like squirted a little right at the very end. It looked like it was going to hit that flagstick dead center. Beautiful shot.
And now Boutier's third.
Good luck on this one, getting this within 8 feet or so. I think she'd do well to get this 10 feet away. Hardly any green to work with. Can't see the surface of the green. Slopes left to right.
Sounded good.
Oh my goodness. That was just a slice of perfection there.
That was beautiful. It's tough to, when you're that far below the putting surface too and short-sided, to get that much height to get the land soft enough.
I bow to that shot.
So some short birdie putts and then the long one for Kang in a moment. First at 15.
Yeah, nice looking hole. This second shot for Allison Lee. Good to sit down. It is going to spin back almost in the hole. The greens are much softer this week than they are usually here at the Satakoi Club. And we can see some shots like that. Let's go back over to 14.
Okay. Just seething here over the last hour or so.
There's nothing easy about this putt. It's a 40-footer from the top level down to where the hole's located.
She's playing with like 15 feet of break, aiming almost outside the shadow of the flagstick. Just got to get it started over the slope.
Most of the break comes at the beginning.
Did she leave it short? Is it possible to leave it short?
No. Oh, short of.
Very good. Pretty well done.
Excellent. I think she'll take that 2-putt and run. But this is a hole you expect to birdie.
Especially with this good of a second as she hit there.
And she made 4 birdies on this 9 yesterday, shot a 32, and that's most likely not going to be the case today.
Incredible, really. In her 4th start since coming back from 3 months off, her scoring average has been 68.5. Today, wrong direction. Now Creamer for birdie. After the lip out.
She certainly deserves this one. But nothing's given to you in this game. I think Paula's perspective has changed a lot since going through all the injuries and becoming a mother. I do sense a lot more calmness in her.
3 years ago, she took a break, didn't play from October of 19 to spring of 2021, and then came back, played a few events last year, then took maternity leave. So she hasn't played a whole heck of a lot. Now Boutier with the cut line at +1. This to there's some wiggle room. So moving to +2 actually as we speak. 83 players at +2. That was well done.
Beautiful short game display, both from Selena and from Paula there. The easiest hole of the golf course. You really want to take advantage heading into the second easiest hole in the golf course too. So a big stretch right there on the back 9.
These are the kind of birdie putts you want. That's back-to-back birdies for Allison Lee. She gets 2 shots back that she dropped at 12 and 13. So Allison going along well at 6 under par here at the LPGA Mediheal Championship, which has moved to Somis, California, the Satakoi Club this week, about an hour or so from LA. That's what it looks like on the tee at the 15th, and Celine Boutier is there.
As you said yesterday, from one of the highest points on the golf course, hitting down to a hole that moves a little bit from left to right.
Yeah, up in the avocado groves there. That one is going to be just fine. They love an avocado here. It was pointed out to me by our wonderful production team that have obviously been here for a few days, that they can seemingly have avocado on every single dish that they have ordered at restaurants in this area. It's healthy, I suppose.
That does not upset me one bit.
No, it's good.
Ayaka food away at the 14th.
Just having to chip across the green, deal with a little bit of slope right to left, but shorter than where we saw Paula just pitching from. Trying to use the backstop. Oh, it hung up. I don't think it would have been too much to ask that to keep falling to the right.
By the way, those avocado trees around the golf course saved the course when the Maria fire came through in 2019. So those avocado trees kept the fire at bay from moving down onto the course. Been a disaster. Andrea Lee.
How does that happen? You mean the avocado trees burned and the course didn't?
Yeah.
They're not good for the avocado trees, is it?
Grilled, yeah. Well, you can download the LPGA app for iPhone, iPad, and Android. Go to lpga.com/apps for more information. Well, we haven't seen Atthaya Thitikul struggle much this year. She's only missed one cut. Crying out. When you have more wins than you have missed cuts, I think that would tell you it's been a pretty good year. But today we've seen wayward shots. And here's your third of the 14th.
She's almost playing this like a bunker shot. Look at how wide open. I expect to see a big swing here like she was showing in those practice strokes. Try and go under the ball, carry it a little bit further, get it to stop. Not bad. Maybe just not 100% perfect contact, but pretty well done. She's going to have an uphill putt for birdie.
15.
Paula Creamer getting ready for her second at the 15th hole.
What is it? Yeah, just out the right more than anything.
Still an 8 though.
Yes, it is.
38.
Probably just playing 40. 41.
I like a little lighted kind of guy. Regular one? Okay. Yeah. You like the edge of that house?
Yeah, there's 2 trucks.
Yeah, the 2 trucks.
Normal. Yes. So the swing, mate.
Paula and her caddy, Holly Clyburn, who is a professional golfer in her own right and doesn't compete anymore because she's just had too many injuries. They actually play a lot of golf together in Orlando, and she goes to some of her lessons with Grant Waite. Just to be on the same page with what Paula's trying to work on.
Oh, right. I think she was unlucky that didn't go in.
Goodness, that was such a good swing. And Morgan, you know, through the years, Paula has been one of the best iron players in the game when she was at her prime.
My gosh, that just looked like it was all the way in the bottom of the cup there, Tom.
Yeah, I think they might have to rebuild the cup. I mean, that just clattered right into the bottom of the fag. It was just a laser.
I mean, maybe not. I think it landed maybe just on the front edge of the cup there. I think we can kind of see. I thought maybe it had gone all the way in and come back out, but it looks like it landed just on the front edge of the cup, hit the flagstick, and bounced to the side.
Yeah. A rules official might have to come in and do a bit of damage repair there, I think.
Yeah, it looks like it definitely damaged the front part of the cup there. What a shot.
Yeah, wonderful. Now, Celine Boutier.
Well, it's going to be hard to top that one, isn't it?
Paula liked going at those 2 vehicles just to the right of the flag. Maybe same on a line here for Boutier.
Yeah, with this gap wedge. see how accurate she can be. That was a full swing. Three very fine shots from this group.
Two lip outs for Paula, back to back, 14 and 15. Back at the 14th, Andrea Lee. It's been about a year now that she's been working with Jim Gormley, and he was talking about that anniversary and what they've accomplished, what she's accomplished.
Yeah, and they started working together on her putting. That was kind of the first thing that they spent, and then after a little bit of time, started working as well in the full swing, and it really is amazing what she's been able to do the last year. I mean, not having status, winning on the Epsom Tour, of course, winning a couple weeks ago in Portland.
Sandy Park over on the 5th hole, so down on the front 9. And he's just had a tough run, not putting together a lot of good scores in the last few months.
Boot away for birdie at 14th. We've mentioned it before. I think it bears repeating. These incredible rookies are seeing these courses for the very first time. Everyone's seeing Satakoy for the first time, but certainly bode well for coming years. This doesn't bode well. 16.
This is all feel, and this is complete athletic ability right there. What a shot.
Oh. Incredible.
I mean, that is never a shot that you practice. Wow.
Inches can indeed make the difference. Tough spot, got out of it, and was able to finish off the hero shot.
15th. They had to repair the hole, didn't they, Kay?
They did, and with the rule changes in the last couple of years, Morgan, players can repair the cup now versus having to wait for a rules official to do it.
A little bit speed up pace of play, and I don't know. That was so close to the edge of the cup. I maybe would have called for an official just in general. But
do you have to repair it? Like,
yes,
okay.
Because the hole was dismantled.
Well,
I mean, it was sort of out of circle.
I was going to say, if I was Boudier, I would have wanted to leave it the way it was. It might have grabbed, that putt might have grabbed it and knocked it in.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. They're not able to make the birdie. Paula got a bit of avocado and stuffed it in there to repair the hole. Just kidding. This is what it looked like. There you go. It was pretty badly damaged. Paula did well to get it back to pretty much what it was before she hit that wonderful approach. And you can see how close that was to going in. Pitching right there. Now Danielle Kang, who's struggled on this back nine. This one for a birdie.
Yeah, she needs to erase the bad strokes that she has and the putts that she's seen missed. Just really focus on seeing this drop in the front left edge of the hole.
She's been, what we've seen so far on the broadcast, quite tentative. Let's see if she can put a good confident stroke on this one.
No, it's guidey. She's just sort of guiding it. There's no nice fluidity to her stroke right now.
That's going to be 14 putts in 6 holes for Danielle Kang, assuming that one goes in. She's got to putt right over that little pitch mark repair.
Statsman Brian Schroll giving us all the numbers. Titicun for birdie. Okay. So to 4 under goes Titicun. 15.
Now Danielle Kang for the par.
She only had 26 putts yesterday.
Just trying to repair that even more, that pitch mark. So Danielle 4 over for this second round. Really disappointed. She's got a lot of friends and family out watching, and I think she wanted to put on a good show, and it's just not happened. Paula now for birdie. Birdies at 14 and 15, and after that bogey at 2, she has played very well today, battling from outside of the cut line yesterday to be here for the weekend.
Allison Lee at 16. On a course full of tricky greens, this may be the trickiest.
Yeah, we saw a lot of players struggle with that hole location below the slope today. It's all the way on the back of the green today on 16.
Annie Park for a birdie at 5. Yeah, good 3 there for Annie. So she's to 6 under par and looking like what could be her best week of the year. She played well at Palace Birdies, finished tied for 5th, and if you take that out of the season, there's not been a huge amount to celebrate, but maybe this week she can match that week, or maybe even go a little better.
You can see part of the bowl effect here in the fairway at the 16th as this marquee group gets there, and Creamer has the honor after back-to-back shots that nearly went in from off the green.
Yeah, I said, nice birdie and good job on that repair. And she laughed and said, I was more nervous repairing the hole than over the little birdie putt. Yeah, taking this more up the right side, and this will feed down to the left. Biggest challenge is avoiding the plethora of divots in this fairway.
I think she did there. Boudier now. 9 of 11 in fairways hit.
Nice ball.
It's kind of just a normal Celine day, actually.
She actually hit all 14 fairways yesterday and 17 greens, which is pretty good ball striking.
With the bouncing ball. Put it back her way. All right. Wasting no time, Danielle Kang.
It doesn't matter which route you take, they're all going to end up just in about the same place here on the 16th, but all three seem to have avoided divots, fortunately.
15.
Andrea Lee. Winner a few weeks ago. Just building on what has been a breakout season for Andrea Lee. Great approach there. Another one almost needing a repair job around the hole. That should lead to a birdie. So Jodie Shadoff has had the lead for a while now here at the Satakoy Club. That round of 69, she's in at 11 under. Back on the 15th. And foot away for the birdie to get it to 3 under. Footaway's rookie season has kind of been overshadowed by Atai Titikum and Pigeon Choi, but she's had a very good year and has won, which is not easy to do in your first year on the LPGA Tour. Obviously having some experience from the Japan Ladies Tour, where they're very excited by this young crop of players coming across, playing around the world. 17, played a little tougher today. I think there was more breeze earlier.
Kick right.
Made it a little more difficult. This one isn't going to be any easier.
Allison's had a few tired swings on this back nine, especially with her irons.
Here is Atai Titikum for a birdie at 15. Seems like she just plays every week. I don't know how she has the energy. I suppose when you're so young, it doesn't matter.
You're 19, you know. It's amazing to think that she is only 19 because she has so much poise on the golf course, and just, I feel like carries herself different than a young 19-year-old.
You have to be pretty great to win as a teenager, they tell me.
Yeah, straight down.
Especially a major.
That's all swing.
You did it. Paula Creamer, a winner as a teenager. At the 16th, the second for Creamer.
Yeah, going with a 9-iron. This plays 10 to 12 yards uphill. can only see the top half of the flagstick. Only 4 paces behind this hole location.
Oh, wow. Judge the distance beautifully there, Kay. Is that going to stay? I think it should. She won't have any idea where that is, but she'll be happy when she gets up there.
Chance to post her best score since coming back.
Andrea Lee, it was just leaking.
Kind of looked like there was just a touch of cut in that stroke. Maybe wasn't fully confident or comfortable, committed to her starting line.
Beautiful look at what the players see at the 16th. Boutier.
Also going with a 9-iron. She's 10 yards in front of where Paula was. I think just a little 3/4 low finish shot.
Yeah. More birdies at the 16th today than yesterday. A few more anyway.
A little more accessible hole location and probably easier to putt once you get around it.
Now Danielle. Will that come back? All the way. Okay. Wind up with a green regulation for Danielle, who could use a putt to drop.
Only the second bunker shot of the week for Allison Lee. She got it up and down at the 6th earlier today. And he's going to need some magic here with the putter in order to save par.
Annie Park, 3rd shot, par 5, 6th.
I mean, Tom, you mentioned about how Annie played so well at Palos Verdes. I think there are similarities to this golf course. NPV, especially the uneven lies, lots of undulation, similar type greens. Certainly suits her eye.
'17.
And Allison Lee just grinding over this par putt at the 17th.
You think about Allison, and we saw her get quite emotional earlier this year at Wilshire, but to the point where she almost really wanted to quit golf. She couldn't figure out what she was doing right and didn't know what she was doing wrong, and this game can really play mind games with you. But to see the way that she's really battled back and put herself consistently towards the tops of the leaderboard and taken a lot of pressure off of herself this season, it's been very impressive.
Oh, very good save there. I think Allison, you know, she left UCLA early to turn pro. I think she kind of missed that university life and didn't know how to adjust to being a pro and still spending time with her college pals and going back to the campus. And that took a bit of an adjustment in the early days. She had so much talent as a youngster. And now she's really matured into a great player, lives in Las Vegas.
Well, you talked about, Morgan, that first round lead she had at Wilshire and some of the comments she made afterwards. Here's what she had to say.
And there was a point in time where I almost wanted to quit. I mean, golf was just so frustrating for me, and I felt lost. I didn't know what I was doing right. I didn't know what I was doing wrong. It just felt like golf, just to me, just felt like a big blah. And to really see my hard work pay off, I mean, because most of it for me was just from a mental perspective, mental side of it. I just didn't have confidence out there. I just didn't trust myself to hit the shots I needed to hit. And I think just with time and persistence, I was able to thankfully get back and be able to be in contention for the week.
It's been really a remarkable young career for Allison. Her rookie year, she was a teammate of yours on the Solheim Cup.
Yeah, just a complete breakout star for sure in that first season, and just, you know, like Tom mentioned, struggled a little bit with the transition out to full-time professional golf. But, you know, I've talked a lot to her coach, Chris Mason, about it. He says he's really proud and impressed with how she's battled her way back. They've put in a lot of really hard work.
Creamer. No fireworks on the 16th after nearly holing out at both 14 and 15. Over the 6th, this is Lindy Duncan. So Lindy, like Annie Park, playing in her 7th consecutive week. Get you back to the 16th. And this is Danielle Kang.
This is a tricky putt. She's at the back left part of this green. Morgan, everything slopes from back to front, left to right, so this will be downhill.
Quite a bit of pace to it. And I think when you're struggling a little bit with your putting, Kay, those left to righters become just that much more challenging to keep the ball on the line.
Good thing to do is to try to pick a spot that's maybe a foot or two in front of your ball that's on the line to the hole, and just focus on that spot and trust if you hit that spot, the ball will fall in the hole.
All right.
Maybe she did that. Well, whatever she did, she got a long awaited for birdie.
That will brighten her spirits and cheer up some of the home fans.
Back on track.
Yeah, back on track.
Just started this just a fraction outside left. Rips it in to the edge. And just the relief.
And again, fascinating about making these changes. She's one of the very best putters in the LPGA Tour, but you're always trying to find something to get a little bit better, aren't you? LPGA for birdie.
A similarly fast putt. Also will just be pulling off to her right.
Never gave that enough pace. It's just tough when you leave yourself above the hole, even though there's not a whole lot other places to leave yourself on the 16th if you get it on that top shelf other than above the hole, but you just have to putt so tentatively.
At the 6th, Annie Park for birdie. It's been a rough stretch for Annie, but she said, I'm a tough cookie. Had a lot of tough weeks, but I've told myself I'm not going to let golf beat me. I'm going to beat golf.
Is that possible? Not that.
Not about
just
her, just anybody.
Yeah. I don't know that you could ever beat the game of golf, but you can sure try your hardest.
Nako Shibuno burns the edge at the 18th. 5 under. He's tied for 13th. The lead is 4 for Jodi Ewart-Shadoff. Go back to Congressional, the KPMG Women's PGA, and Ji Chun had a 6-shot lead going into the weekend. That got wild on Sunday. Fell behind and eventually came back to win it. Can Jodi Ewart-Shadoff, closing in on 250 career starts, get it done this week for the very first time? She's off to a great start.
It's a big elevation change off the tee at the 17th, 75 feet down the hill, and Danielle Kang is up on the tee.
Tom, this tee shot, you just feel like you can stand up and swing as hard as you want, and you're not going to miss the fairway.
It's a nice feeling, isn't it? If only it were true. That one's going to be just fine. That marker there is 114 yards to the hole, so they're driving it further down there than they were earlier in the day.
Well, we know this can be made. We saw So-Yeon Yu. Uh-oh.
It's just so hard. You can't. Most greens, most golf courses, you don't want to miss long to a back flag. That's just a big miss.
Creamer on the tee.
Now that's a good swing. It goes a little further down the left-hand side.
I mean, these fairways on this back nine, 14, 16, 17, 18, over 85% of the field hitting almost all of these fairways on the back. They are a little bit on the wider side. Sometimes those big trees come into play, but
at the 16th, this is foot away for par.
This is going to be really, really slow, putting up the hill, away from the ocean. What I love about her putting stroke is her rhythm never changes. No matter how long the putt is, she has the same kind of back and through tempo and rhythm. It's a very efficient putting stroke. Keeps it very simple.
That'll be for bogey 7.
This is Lindy Duncan. We know how difficult this 7th hole has been today. Hardest hole on the golf course. A few horror stories here from earlier in the day's play, but not for Lindy Duncan if that just stays right there.
While we have a moment, I'll let you know about LPGA.com/professionals. They're educators and business leaders dedicated to growing the game for everyone. You can turn your passion for golf into a career. Website LPGA.com/professionals. At the 16th, Atthaya Thitikul to go back-to-back with birdies.
Similar to the one that Celine just left short. Let's see if she can give it a little bit more pace. Nice.
She was 10 behind Nasa Hataoka in birdies for the season. She's creeping closer, 3 in a row now.
Here's Paula Creamer second at 17.
Tom, she's going with a pitching wedge. Slight downhill lie. So that's going to shut down the face just a little bit.
Yeah, don't want to spin too much there. There's a big slope at the front of that green.
I think she was just a little in between clubs there. Thought she was going to get a little more out of that one.
She's got Hilton around her neck there. Her daughter's name.
Andrea Lee for birdie at 16.
Just slightly to the right. It's a ticklish one there, but just couldn't quite keep it on her line.
17.
Celine Boutier from over on the right side.
Yeah, more accessible hole location today. Towards the front, 10 on. Green tilts a little right to left.
Spin towards the hole from there. Okay, good chance for a 3 for Celine. Annie Park at the 7th.
She talked a little bit yesterday about how she was really working hard on her commitment. I think it's something that just in general you can get sloppy with. Oh, goodness. What did we just say, Tom, about not wanting to go long to a back flag? It's going to be tough.
It is tough back there, and we've seen players struggle on that hole today. Over at the 17th, Danielle Kang second.
All 3 of these players, Tom, within 3 yards of each other distance-wise, so 3 pitching wedges.
Yeah, good drives there, and all 3 have birdie putts to come at the 17th. Really not much movement in that flag stick. There was a bit more earlier in the day. Jodie Ewart-Shadoff played this morning, round in 69. She's chasing her first LPGA Tour win. Paula Rito got her first win just a few weeks ago in Canada. Creamer for a birdie here at 17.
Tom, looking at this from the front of the green, it looks like it wants to go a little to the right, but there's a big hill to her right, so I'm still trying to figure out these greens and read them. It is uphill. See if she can hit it.
Quite a long way to the right.
You know, they try to set these greens against the predominant slope to sort of neutralize the pull. And I think that's what makes this golf course tricky.
Likely to be Paula's last event of the season, unless she gets an invite into the Pelican Women's Championship or plays on a Ladies European Tour event. She's not listed to play next week on the Ladies European Tour. They're actually going to play in the New York area. Annie Park here at the 7th. Like that little shot there. Good imagination, good touch. Quite the right line, but good for pace. Back over to 17. And Danielle Kang for a birdie, trying to finish strong here. It's been a tough day.
Tom, will this one wander to the right as well?
We will see. I'm not going to commit to anything. You'd think it would. Even the slope, as you get further down the green, it feels like it's going to go to the left.
Danielle used to practice quite a bit out here with Andrew Putnam and David Lipsky, who both were at Pepperdine. They'd come up with all sorts of competitive games.
It starts.
She can't miss.
Yeah, that was one of the best looking putting strokes we've seen from her today.
Yeah, she said she once flipped a golf cart with David Lipsky in it at this golf course, which I tell you what, you could do here. There are a few moments you've got to be really careful. But that is not. I've done that before. It's a horrible experience.
It's harrowing.
We're going to have to ask David if he remembers that. I'm sure he must.
Andrew Putnam's a good guy to have a contest with. He's a good putter.
Take a look at insights by KPMG. Celine Boutier, strokes gained putting, comparing 2021 to 2022. And this one for a birdie to get to 3 under par.
She racked up a pretty good amount of top 10 finishes last year, plus a win in the Olympics and a win at the French Open, which she said she was really proud of, winning her own Open championship.
Head to the 18th and let's take a look at this par 5 closing hole.
Yeah, it's a bit of a dog leg uphill right, Morgan.
It dog legs both ways. The tee shot dog legs a little bit right to left. Just got to avoid that bunker there, but ideally want to keep it up the left side because of the second dog leg to the right. There you see that this tree near that cart path that really protects players who hit it up the right off the tee from being able to go for this green in 2. Most players opting to lay up somewhere between 50 and 100 yards short left of this green. And it's definitely a closing birdie hole. Playing is the 3rd easiest hole in the golf course today. Just about a 1/10 of a stroke under par.
Allison Lee. Firm wrap.
Yeah, that was maybe a little mental lapse there. Maybe we've seen a few tired golf swings. Maybe a little bit of a just tired mental at the end of the day.
Well, it has been a wild ride, as it often is with Danielle Kang today, and our back-to-back birdies. Here's the tee at 18.
Well, she's fun to watch for a variety of reasons. 249 to carry that bunker. Just skirts it by.
49.1.
That was very fortunate break right there. She'll take that one.
Let's watch Celine Boutier's tee shot with our top tracer technology. Morgan and Kay, when you get to a golf course that no one knows, is there a type of player who might have an advantage, or is it just anybody's game, or does it depend on the course itself?
I think it depends on the course itself, but I also think it levels the playing field a little bit related to veterans and rookies, because the rookies all year, Kay, have been having to extra prepare, whereas this week everybody's in the same boat.
Yep, as a young player, you feel like you come to the course on equal standing.
Really nice day for Paula Creamer. We saw her make an ace in Cincinnati and hole out from the fairway, and she's given us a few fireworks today.
Or was it last week she posted after missing the cut about all the bad shots that she had, and just sort of emphasizing how hard this game is and how hard it is to get back into the flow of competition.
That's a good one. Right, now the comebacker for par for Allison Lee. Even par today is for 72. It's going to sting, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. 3-putt there on the last hole from only, what, about 15, 20 feet. That leaves a bad taste in your mouth. But she really is playing some solid golf, and I think she's got still a good chance this weekend.
17.
Andrea Lee, second. Yeah, really well done. That should be a birdie. Should have some support, not too far away from home base. Now, Lindy Duncan is 113th in the race to the CME Globe. Right now projected 92nd, but a bogey here, and she would move outside of the top 100. So that is the smallest of margins for keeping your card on the LPGA Tour. Top 100 keep their card, and I think she will have one more chance after this, but it's getting a bit tight for Lindy Duncan.
Danielle Kang at the 18th.
It's taking a lot less time getting up over the shots and hitting them.
I'm kind of intrigued, Kay. I don't know if you've noticed it while you've been out there, but how open she's setting up to most of her shots. I don't know if that's to help her turn through the ball a little bit better with her back issues that she's been dealing with, but it's definitely noticeable.
Yeah, it could be, or maybe she was starting to draw it too much and she's trying to counter that.
Can't across. Well, that leaves you 65. 65 would be I mean, it's not difficult where it was up here, but one was 20 short and 65. Or 65 from here, that's on line with that tree. So we'll do that 65.
Boutier.
And here by the conversation, there's a lot of calculating that goes on into a layup shot. Players ideally have a target number in their mind that they want to have for their third, and you're also cognizant of keeping it short of, say, a fairway bunker that's on the left. Like you said, Morgan, the other day, if you're laying up, lay up.
It is easy when you have such a big target as, say, a 20 or 30 yard wide fairway to kind of mentally fall asleep a hair when you're laying up, but that was well done.
Avoids all the shrapnel, so she'll have a clean third shot, it would appear. 7.
Now Lindy Duncan for par. Oh dear. So talked about, you know, the CME projections. There you go. Now she's projected at 102 because it was a bogey. Top 60 get into the CME Group Tour Championship. She's concentrating on that top 100 number to keep her card, which, you know, if she has a good weekend, this will be a massive move for her in those rankings. Now Tidekun at the 17th. And here, 3 birdies in a row.
So we'll make the cut at the end of the day today and be back with you for round 3 coverage of this LPGA Mediheal Championship. 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 5:30 Eastern Time on golfchannel.com and the NBC Sports app. First year here at the Satakoy Club. Last 3 times they played this event, the first 3 playings at Lake Merced, which just reopened a few days ago after some massive renovations.
Okay, it's a bogey. Missed the green. Didn't hit a particularly good pitch shot there, so falls back to 5 under par. It's been kind of a mixed bag, hasn't it, for Tidekun? Projected at number 1 in the race to the CME Globe.
Today's coverage is brought to you by Mediheal. Mediheal today, beautiful skin tomorrow. By Volunteers of America, helping those who need it most for over 125 years. And by Skechers Go Golf, comfort-driven styles worn by Brooke Henderson.
Yeah, you can par for that, no problem, mate. Just need you to trust it.
Third shot for Danielle Kang at the 18th.
104 yards to the hole. Plays about half a club uphill. It's kind of hidden back there behind the edge of the bunker. Ooh, she is certainly finishing strongly.
A chance to finish with 3 straight birdies. She's going to make her 22nd consecutive cut. Incredible consistency for Danielle in the midst of otherwise tough year with an injury.
Andrea Lee, the easy birdie goes in there. She gets under par for the day.
Third shot for Creamer at 18.
You can.
She's probably thinking, "Oop, that was a little bit too big of a divot that I just took on that practice swing."
8.
I'm not trying to go over that far left, right?
You actually want to go a little bit right of it.
Yeah. Okay.
And the wind's just slightly.
And then we fly.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. That's all it's doing.
think this partnership, Morgan, having Holly on the bag is really good for Paula. They're friends. They have a lot to talk about between shots. And Holly thinks like a competitor.
She knows what your body has the tendency to do under pressure. And they've had a lot of great conversation today. Looks like she got just a fraction on her toes there. A little bit of a tug. But that'll be just fine.
And now the third for Boutier.
Visually, this is a challenging shot because she cannot see the surface of the green, can only see the top half of the flagstick. She's blocked out by the bunker, so has to really trust the number. 83 yards to the hole. This should be just a good sand wedge. She actually likes to take a little something off some of her wedges, a little more old school. That's a beauty right there.
Into the setting sun here.
Flagstick, she's blocked out by the bunker, so has to really trust the number. 83 yards to the hole. This should be just a good sand wedge. She actually likes to take a little something off some of her wedges, a little more old school. Yeah, that's a beauty right there.
Into the setting sun here.
Flagstick, she's blocked out by the bunker, so has to really trust the number. 83 yards to the hole. This should be just a good sand wedge. She actually likes to take a little something off some of her wedges, a little more old school. Yeah, that's a beauty right there.